Jet tags, guys, in the description. Support me. But as you guys can see, we got this stock turbo right now. In this video, we're gonna be taking the turbo and the manifold off on this Mazdaspeed 3 and 6 engine. So we're gonna be talking about it today, but first, I wanted to talk about the shaft play in this turbo. This turbo is not good. If we can get a close up, you guys will hear, but the shaft play, if you guys can hear that, that means it's in and out, and that means there's too much shaft play. This turbo was squirting oil into the engine through its intercooler piping, of course. So that means that the turbo seals on this thing are blown. So if you guys ever check your turbo and it's got shaft play like that, that means your turbo is shot. Do not run that anymore. You could risk blowing up your engine. Now we're gonna talk about the replacements for this turbo first before we take off this stuff. But do not buy another stock turbo. You'll just keep wasting money by buying a stock turbo. You might as well upgrade it. Now don't upgrade to a slightly upgraded turbo. If you're gonna go anything, you might as well go a B&R S4, a Corksport S4, or something bigger than that. Now those two turbos are decent, but I personally like a Garrett turbo because Garrett turbos are just higher quality. But if you're gonna upgrade the manifold and the turbo, then I recommend getting like a precision turbo, because you guys can see right here, there's these 4 lines, and we're gonna give you guys a closer look, but this is a water line right here, and then you've got the oil drain on the bottom. Zoom out and show them the whole oil drain. So this is the whole oil drain right here. But as you guys can see, there's a really tight, it's a really tight area with all this stuff. So when you have a precision turbo, it actually only has 2 lines. It has a top line right here for the oil feed, right where my finger is. Our lighting's not very good, but it has only 2 lines. So the precision turbo is far better than what this guy is. We'll give you guys a better look, but do not upgrade a stock turbo, just go a little bit bigger. It's better for your money. The stock turbo is notorious for having a small shaft, or a skinny shaft, if you will. So this shaft play that you see happens all the time, and people have had good luck where it lasts for 70K miles or 100K miles, but traditionally when you start upgrading some parts like a front mount intercooler, or you start modding your car, it will put a little bit more stress on the turbo. So just don't really mess around with the stock KO4. Just go to a bigger turbo and you'll be fine. Now coming to the exhaust manifold, this exhaust manifold is the stock one, and this one is really good. Do a little farther zoom out because we're just talking about it, but this exhaust manifold is actually a very good flowing manifold. The design is wonderful on this thing. Now, if you're gonna upgrade it because you don't like the look of it, do not get the eBay one. The excess power eBay one or any other eBay exhaust manifold is not gonna flow better than this stock one right here. So you might as well either just use the stock one and just suck it up with the bad looks, or upgrade to a nicer one. Now there's Corksport, there's CPE, there's a few other good companies, but basically Corksport is the newest one, and I really like theirs because this part right here where it connects to the turbo, the flange part, it actually has a spot where it can either be this stock Mazdaspeed flange, it could be a T4, T3, which is a traditional flange, or it could be V-band. And V-band is by far the best way to go for a turbo. V-band is just much easier to work with. Now if you don't know what V-band is, it's a single like clamp. It's a V-band clamp, kind of like what this looks like. It'll just clamp right on. So we're gonna pull this exhaust manifold off, give you guys the rundown of everything that's going on. We're gonna pull all these lines off and show you what they look like and everything. But I just want to let you guys know what's going on with this stock turbo, the stock manifold, and the best ways to go about replacing them. So let's get to taking this guy off. Guys, this is me from the future. In the next clip, you'll see me taking this off, but I missed something that I really wanted to talk about. So the oil drain right over here, let me show you. This guy, you'll see me taking it off, but this is the oil drain, and this one is only for stock turbos. You actually have to upgrade this if you're gonna switch your turbo. So keep that in mind. When you switch your turbo, this guy is gonna need an upgrade. There's a few different companies out there, and we'll link them in the description because I kind of forgot what they're named, but there's a whole bunch of different ways to go about it. You could get a flexible like hose that goes there. That's what I did, as like a rubber reinforced hose, because if you just use a rubber hose, it might heat up too much and melt. So you got to upgrade your oil drain, and then you also got to upgrade your oil feed. Now the oil feed, is going to be a steel braided line that just goes right here, and we show you in the next clip taking it off and everything. But just remember, you're going to have to upgrade your oil lines and possibly your coolant lines if you upgrade your turbo, which we talk about in the next clip. All right guys, this is me from the future again. In the next clip, you'll see me taking off the turbo, but I just noticed something that you guys gotta see. So this is the only problem with the stock exhaust manifold. As you can see, it's ripped right here, and it's because of these rib. Oh wow, we broke it, nice. So as you can see, it's this rib situation, and that is the only problem with the stock one, is that this could break. But we talk about the other issues with this and what to upgrade, so look at the next clip to see. But I'll catch you guys when I take the turbo off. All right guys, so we're about to take this off, but first I wanted to say this guy right here is your EGR. So we're gonna be taking this EGR, the coolant neck, all the other accessories, you know, all this stuff in another video. But for this video, we're focusing on the turbo and the manifold. So we're gonna get these bolts off so I can show you guys. But as you can see, there's a whole bunch of bolts around here. I think 8 to be total, or 10, but they come off fairly easy on this side. Uh-oh. Oh, we got that one off. I almost stripped it, guys, but don't worry, we'll keep track of these bolts too. It's just because I'm doing it for the video. Nice. This one. Nice. So, as you guys can see, we got most of the yellow bolts off right there. Do a zoom out of what they look like. Got all the bolts off on that side, so now we got to break the other ones with a wrench. Just keep it rolling. Let's get this going. That should be a t-shirt. Keep it rolling, let's get this going. I like it, I like it. I kind of like that a lot.
That's your hoodie.
Right there. If you guys want a hoodie, let me know, because that could be sick. So as you guys can see, I'm just...
get footage of this one right here.
Yep, as you can see, I'm slowly doing it. This could be a long process. I won't show you guys all these, but as you can see, I got to break these guys loose. So there's 2 that were broken loose. This one right here, it needs to get twisted around. Sometimes what you can see is the whole stud is coming out. So there's a trick to get the stud off the nut, and that's called the 2 nut method, where you got to put 2 nuts on this stud. But we can show you guys that after we get this guy off. As you can see, I could finger turn that, so that's good. There's only, I think, 1 more right here that we got to break loose. Oh, that one's loose as well. So we're looking good. That's basically all the bolts, you guys. We're gonna keep prying at these and get them all the way off so you don't have to watch, and then we'll show us taking the actual manifold off. But that's basically all the bolts. So we're gonna keep going, and we'll catch you guys in the next clip. So we're about to take off the turbo and manifold, but I wanna talk about these lines. So as you can see, there are 4 lines to this turbo. So there's this guy right here, which is gonna be a coolant feed line, I believe. And then you got this top one that's gonna be hard to see, but remember, there's 4 lines. So the top one is the oil feed. So you got a coolant feed, a oil feed, and then this line right here that's cut off already is the one that goes to the back side of the turbo. It's gonna be hard to see, but it's right here where my hand is. It's gonna be on the turbo, and that's the coolant drain. And then as you guys can see right here, this last one is the oil drain. So this guy right here is the oil drain, and those are the 4 lines. So like I was saying, a turbo that has coolant lines is not the best in my opinion. You could get a precision turbo that only has 2 lines total. It's oil feed, oil drain, and that's it. And those are the best. Also, there's a comp turbo that has air-cooled technology. I don't know if those are usable or if they're good for daily drivers, but I want to try one of those one day. So cool, comp turbos could be good, but we're gonna take off these lines and then take off the manifold so you guys can see. Right here, this is the oil feed, and if you guys don't know, the alternator in the last video was sitting right here. These are the mounting spots, or these are right here for the alternator. So to get to this oil feed right here, it's really difficult, but it's actually hidden below the alternator. So I'm gonna zap that guy off right here. And this, by the way, it's got one of these special bolts that has a hole in it, if you can see that. The hole is what gives the oil a passageway for this design. Set that guy right there, and I'll show you this again. This line right here is, we just bent it. It has an O-ring on it, and then it's got like a little design that has the hole going up to this thing. So you need O-rings. These copper O-rings are super important, but this guy right here is where the oil feed is going. So keep that in mind, but that's the oil feed that we just took off. Now we're gonna take off this guy, which would be the oil drain, right? Yep. Oh, there we go. So spin this guy once again. So taking off this. We'll keep track of these bolts, don't worry. Nice. Okay, so as you guys know, this piece right here, I'll give you guys another look, but where this guy goes, the oil drain, it is an extreme pain in the ass. Zoom out a little bit and show them the whole picture, but this oil drain right here is a pain to get to. If you have a Speed 6, there's a transfer case that sits right here, and doing it in the car is almost a no-go. I've done it once before where I did the oil drain, like I fixed a leak right here, and it was almost impossible. It is terrible to do. So Speed 6 guys, that's probably the hardest job to do, is this oil drain. So make sure you either pull your engine to do that, or you just have extreme patience, because it's gonna be tough to get to this guy. But if you have a Speed 3, it's cake. You can do it in the car, it's not a problem. So keep that in mind. But yeah, this is the oil drain right here. It's got this flexible rib. We got one more bolt holding this manifold on, so let's hurry and crank that guy off. It's right in there, if you guys can see. It's the hardest one to get to. Luckily we loosened it a tiny bit. As you can see, the manifold wants to move because it's coming off on this last bolt. This is the technique. Zoom out and show them what I look like doing this. You gotta see my hand in there. You got one hand holding the wrench on, one hand is twisting the wrench. This is what you gotta do sometimes to get it, but it's worth it. Manifold is almost off. Crank, crank,
Look at that
crank,
finger work,
crank,
dude.
crank, crank, crank.
Ladies, he's single?
Yes, sir.
He's single,
I've been
Bubba?
training for years. These hands have been training for years. Also, if you guys didn't know, my boy Corey is the one filming. He's been helping me out in every video. His name is Corey Bassett, and he's got a channel on Mazda Speeds, so be sure to check this guy out for a fact. He's got a few videos on me too, with me in his channel, so if you search my name, you should be able to find Corey's channel as well. So go show him the love, the support, give him a sub. We're so close to getting this off. So close. How close? Oh, it's right there. Come on. It's on the edge. Go, go, go. Oh no, I lost the technique. 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 Put that down in the comments if you know what that's from. Technique.
I just learned what that was about 10 minutes ago.
Yes,
so.
sir. All right. We can finger this one off. Show them the action right there. And bam.
Boom.
All right, you guys ready? A moment we've all been waiting for. Give them a nice zoomed out picture. Yes, sir. All right, you ready? Oh,
Look
show
at
them the old.
Look at that.
Look at this grime.
Probably never been taken off.
Yeah,
ever.
look at this grime. Oh man, it's bad, but
Nasty.
nasty. I don't even know. Does this have a gasket on it? Oh, the gasket's right here.
This gasket's caked to the block. Yeah.
Let's get the gasket off real quick. These gaskets. Oh.
Oh.
Whoa.
Okay.
It's heavy. Holy
Okay.
smokes, this thing is heavy. All right, guys, this is what it looks like, as you can see. So this manifold, as we were talking about, this one actually flows really well and it holds up pretty well. So this manifold is solid. It's not a bad manifold, but we're gonna set this guy down for a second. We'll talk about it in just a moment. Oh, let's look at the block side of things. He's still gone. So let's take off that. So as you guys can see, there's a lot of oil. I don't really know what that's from. Do you know by chance? Not really sure why. There's a bunch of oil pooled up in this spot, but obviously that's not good. So as you guys can see right here though, this little, yeah, but look at this, zoom out and show them the whole thing, the whole exhaust side. So as you guys can see, this little hole, this is what the EGR does. It's cycling exhaust. This little gap right here cycles a tiny bit of exhaust from cylinder 4 into this little hole right here, and then it goes into your EGR. Now that's what this hole is right here. So that is cycling gas, and it's actually, I believe, going into this, and then it might be cooled down by your coolant, because this thing's got coolant going through. That's what this line is. It's a coolant line. So there's coolant going through this thing, and I believe it's cooling down your exhaust gases. But then your EGR tube that we took off that goes all the way around, your EGR is like cycling that exhaust gas. So I've seen people actually weld up this spot right here, that you could weld that up and then get it like machined flat so that you would have this gone. But this EGR thing is not that important. It doesn't really take power away, especially once you do the thing where you plug this side. But that's basically what your EGR is doing, is it's cycling gases from the exhaust side of things. So this is basically the whole back side of the engine. Obviously you saw us just take this manifold off, but I want to talk about, oh, this thing is heavy for sure, but I want to talk about the power limits of this guy. People have made 550 wheel horsepower on this thing, and it's held up just fine. So this guy can make plenty of power, but like I was saying, the only downside from this guy is the looks of it, really. And then also, if you want to come over here, Corey, show them the flange. This flange is super hard to deal with, and when you're putting this flange on, it is not fun to do in the car. So if you're gonna be changing the turbo, it honestly, I'll go back over to the engine, it honestly would be easier to just pull your whole engine, and then that way you can get to all these bolts outside of the car. Like I was showing you guys, these bolts all right here are extremely difficult to get to, even with the engine out of the car. It took us a lot of work, so you might as well pull your engine. The engine's actually a pretty easy thing to pull. It only takes like a couple of hours, even if you're a noob. So you might as well just pull your engine. Make sure these bolts are extremely tight when you do it, because having an exhaust leak, like if you see some of the black areas, an exhaust leak is terrible on this thing. It is not fun to deal with, and you'll lose power. So make sure you get those bolts extremely tight. But basically guys, this exhaust manifold, the stock one, is totally good to use, so don't worry about upgrading it. It's really the turbo that you need to upgrade. The stock turbo sucks. Do not use the stock turbo if you can afford it. Just get an upgraded one, and don't get a slightly upgraded one. Go with a B&R S4, Corksport S4, or bigger turbos. And if you really have the money, get a precision turbo, because those coolant lines, every other turbo deals with coolant lines except for a precision turbo. So make sure you try to avoid the coolant lines, because that will just make it even harder to install. So you want to make it as easy on yourself as possible. But I think that's pretty much it for this video, you guys. Be sure to check out my jet tags. Be sure to check out the man behind the camera, Corey. He is a beast, and he's been helping me. So go check out his channel. It'll be in my description, or you can search his name, Corey, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.